Hello brothers and sisters, this is Brother Victor Morales. I'd like to speak a little bit about the fruit of the Spirit. The fruit of the Spirit in Galatians are love, joy, peace, long-suffering, gentleness, goodness, faith, meekness, and temperance, or against such there is no law. And when any person who is speaking supposedly for God cannot bridle their tongue, or cannot help but expose hate in themselves, who says that God hates certain people, that is not the case. The Scripture tells us we will know them by their fruits. And the fruit of the flesh are also listed, and it's a quite long list. If any of those are exhibited in people saying that they belong to God and that they're speaking for God, they are not from God, and they do not have the fruit of the Spirit. Jesus Christ said we will know them by their fruits, not only false teachers, but false brethren. Paul said, I tell you before, and I tell you again now weeping, that there are many who walk that are the enemy of the cross of Christ, whose God is their belly, whose glory is in their shame, who mind earthly things. Anybody who minds earthly things, they're not of God. Read the Bible. Consult the Scriptures. We are to examine ourselves to make sure that we are in the faith, because the enemy is deceitful. Paul says, examine yourselves to make sure you're in the faith, because many people are deceived, thinking that they are in the faith, but they are the enemies of the cross of Christ. Make yourselves known to God. Cry out to God. Plead to Him. Ask Him for discernment. Ask Him to shield you with His outstretched mighty arm, and He will do just that. He will transform you. By the renewing of your mind, He will renew your heart, He will renew your mind, He will give you of His Spirit, and that's how we know that we belong to Him. By the Spirit which He hath given us, which enables us to live a life that is pleasing unto Him, and to bridle our tongue, that we may be able to bridle the entire body and be a perfect man in His sight. He said, be ye holy, for I am holy. James tells us, if there is a man among you who seems to be religious, and bridleth not his tongue, but deceiveth his own heart, this man's religion is vain. Paul tells us to examine ourselves, not to examine ourselves or compare ourselves with themselves, but to examine ourselves according to the Scripture. We are to judge righteously. And righteous judgment is comparing all things to Scripture and making your judgment not in appearance, but in righteous judgment according to what the Scripture teaches. We need to be sure that we examine ourselves and make sure that we are in the faith. James also says that he who can bridle his tongue, the same is a perfect man who can also bridle his whole body. We are to stand perfect before God. We are not to be deceived. We must examine ourselves. We are either of God or of the devil. There's no in between. Examine yourselves to make sure you are faith. God bless you.